What you're about to watch is a completely raw, basically unedited, and basically uncut version of a Michigan basketball fan's reaction to today's game. So if you're a Wolverines fan, a rival fan, or a college basketball fan in general, go ahead and subscribe right here, hit that bell notification so you won't miss any of the action. Now, without further ado, here's that reaction you came for. Enjoy. Wow. I mean, seriously, what a huge win today over the Wisconsin Badgers on the road at the Kohl Center at a place that we have continued to struggle year in and year out. It feels so good to be a Michigan basketball fan right now as opposed to a Michigan football fan, because I get to make these videos much more positive than what we do during football season. So let's get right into it with that positivity. Today, a huge W for the squad as we fall down 12 points in the first half. Looked terrible, abysmal, awful. Things were not going well. Hunter Dickinson, as our boy Mark in the chats talked about over and over again, was being taken out of the game over and over again by Juwan Howard. The rotations weren't looking great. Couldn't get anything going. Looked like something was in the basket stopping us from being able to make anything, and we couldn't stop Wisconsin on the three ball. We were having one heck of a time trying to defend them. Fell down early, struggled. Things looked terrible, but all the people in the chat during the live stream, including myself and Phil, who were hosting it, felt confident the entire time. And speaking of the live stream, make sure you join us for these games. If you're just now seeing this and you're just now finding this channel, we cover all the Michigan action, as well as the Lions, Tigers, and Pistons. Would appreciate having you here. We have a good time, to say the least. But yeah, 12 points down, and we come back with a vengeance in the second half. Things really got going. Livers was the main man shooting well. Hunter Dickinson, not his best offensive performance this time around, but man oh man was he huge in other aspects of the game. Had 5 blocks, had 14 rebounds, and was just huge inside. As Wisconsin tried to distribute a good paint presence, they were unable to do it. So the final stat line today, Isaiah Livers had 20 points, Dickinson ended up with 11, Franz Wagner with 14, Eli Brooks 9, and Mike Smith 6. Off the bench, we had Austin Davis with 6 points and Shawnee Brown with 1. But the bigger news is Trice went 4 for 11 shooting, 0 for 2 on 3-pointers, and he only had 16 points. That's not terrible. We didn't allow him to do more than that and be a Wolverine killer in this situation, as sometimes people are able to do in past years. There's always that one guy that we just can't stop, especially for a team like Wisconsin, a shooter that we are unable to hold down, but we held Trice down for the most part. Ford had 15 points, and Davis had 11. Everybody else, even Potter, scored in single digits. The defense just absolutely stepped up in the second half. So I mentioned we were down 12 points at the half. I think the score was 37-25 or something like that. Final score ended up being 67-59. So that means they scored around 22 points if I got the halftime score correct. So they did not shoot the ball well in the second half, and a lot of that had to do with the disruptions that Michigan did on the defensive side of the ball. Juwan Howard, we also said this during the stream, and a lot of people in the chat were saying it, his rotations in the second half were phenomenal. Listen, I've mentioned it over and over again. We were concerned, or I was at least, that Juwan Howard could definitely recruit. That wasn't a question at all. But could he coach the same way John Beilein did? And listen, I'm not saying he's a better coach than John Beilein. That's yet to be determined. But so far, I would argue that a lot of his rotations and plug and plays are a little bit better than Beilein's. A lot of times things like Beilein leaving Xavier Simpson in late in games when he wasn't a very good free throw shooter, or not taking him out when he would take 3-point shots when he wasn't a good 3-point shooter. He would have some issues with just being a little bit too loyal, it would seem sometimes. Whereas Juwan Howard, he's a little bit more quick to pull the trigger and say, nope, you got to come out, you got to come in, and it seems to be the right decision more often than not. He seems to find the hot hands offensively and the good presences on the defensive side of the ball. So man, again, what a win today. Up next will be Rutgers, number 25 in the nation. That happens on Thursday. Then we play the big one at Ohio State on Saturday. A top 10 Big Ten matchup. That's going to be huge against our rivals. God, we got to get it done. We got to get it done. Stinks that we had this layoff, but that just speaks wonders for this team to have been out of basketball for 3 weeks, to have missed 5 games, to have not been able to get your legs out from under you, to actually get out there, have game speed, and be top notch the way we were before all this started. Man, oh man, that first half made us feel like that 3 weeks really took a toll on us. But after that, we figured it out. We figured it out. What I love about this team that really gives me hope in the Big Ten tournament, of course, but also in the NCAA tournament, is that it just feels like we have more go-to guys on this squad. It feels like we have a lot of guys who can hit shots when we need them. When others are struggling, somebody else comes through each and every time. We have not had that in recent years. We've had a couple of good shooters, but if they were off, we were in big trouble. And our defense wasn't necessarily good enough, and we didn't have that post presence that we have in Hunter Dickinson, and really Austin Davis has been pretty huge in a big way. He came through with some clutch points today when we needed them most. He actually ignited, I would argue, a lot of what happened today in the second half. So that was huge. But yeah, it just feels like this team has the possibilities. We're going to be streaming the entire NCAA tournament, obviously all the Michigan games. We're going to be looking forward to that. And I feel like this team has every bit of opportunity. Kentucky's in a bind. Probably won't make the tournament. Duke's in a bind. North Carolina's in a bind. Michigan State's in a bind. Man, the Blue Bloods are not looking great this year. So that gives Michigan a wide open path with more of the likes of Baylor and Gonzaga, more beatable teams, great teams, but more beatable teams than what we're usually going to see. Because I don't know about you guys, but the year that we played Louisville, I felt like Louisville was a little bit better of a team than us. The year we played Villanova in the championship game, I for sure knew that Villanova was a better team than us. That we couldn't, we already almost lost earlier in that tournament when we had to have Jordan Poole's last second shot against Houston.
Andy, you know you're going to record a miss. So just like last year, we just... Jordan Poole for the win. He's a freshman. Yeah. I woke up just in time. You're the best team in the nation. We'll see you next week, North Carolina. We never lose. That's a trademark moment. Trademark.
But this team feels like it can truly make a good run and make things happen in the tournament. But first things first, it's Rutgers and Ohio State. So until then, we'll see you guys next time. If you could, please give this video a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. If you're a fan of the Michigan Wolverines, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Or if you like the Lions, Tigers, or Pistons, as you can see on the wall, we covered them all. Thanks for being here, guys. I'll see you next time. Go Blue.